Well, hello, everybody. Peace and power and elevation be to all the beautiful people out there. This your girl Tiffany coming through here live in effect. So it's kind of early in the day, and I don't expect for everybody to be on here. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, share the channel, like the channel, etc., etc. So we're going to get into the most controversial topic in history. The most controversial topic, the non-stop argument, and that is Roe versus Wade. Pro-choice, pro-life. The topic is dealing with abortion. It's very debatable, especially amongst women. Because when women have these debates, especially if you have a party that is pro-life or you have another party that is pro-choice, it brings the chaos. And then there's a lot of emotionalism because people give about personal confession. They give their own personal confession of whether they was put in a predicament to abort their fetus and whatnot. Okay. And then my next video, I'm gonna talk about the late term abortion thing. So I didn't have the time to actually put it into this conversation, but I'm gonna talk about late abortion because that's when I'm gonna go heavy and deep into that. But anyways, so make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like the channel, share the channel, and all that great stuff. And I'm gonna go ahead and get started, okay? All right, so first and foremost, right? We're gonna talk about what's been going on in the news lately. So lately, the Supreme Court made their decision about Roe versus Wade, and now there is a serious uproar going on, especially with women. Yeah, it's a lot of uproar going on regarding to the decision that was made by the Supreme Court, etc. So let's go to that. Let's read on what the Supreme Court did as far as Roe versus Wade. Okay. Oops. I'm gonna come back to that, but let's go into this. All right, so if you guys can see my screen, hold on. Pull my screen up. Okay. So how the Supreme Court went from cementing abortion right in Roe versus Wade to drafting their demise. And this came out on May 6th, 2022, Friday. Okay, so this came out just last week. It says a Supreme Court draft opinion linked this week shows the High Court is posed to strike down abortion rights enshrined by Roe versus Wade and Planned Parenthood versus Casey. And it says Chief Justice John Roberts noted that the first draft penned by conservative Justice Samuel Alito does not represent a final decision in the case. All right. So it says up to 26 states are expected to impose new limits on abortion if Roe and Casey are overturned, according to a leading reproductive rights advocacy group. Okay. Now let's go down to here. Let's read on into this. So federal protection for abortion rights have withstood legal challenges for nearly half a century, but a Supreme Court draft opinion revealed this week in an extraordinary leak shows the High Court's posing to strike down the long-standing proceeding. It says the draft marks a stunning shift from a court that grew far more conservative during the Trump administration, even as Americans have broadly grew more liberal in the years since the pivotal abortion ruling in 1973's Roe versus Wade and 1992's Planned Parenthood versus Casey. All right, so it says Chief Justice John Roberts noted that the first draft penned by conservative Justice Samuel Alito and reportedly circulated in February does not represent a final decision in the case, but the early leak of an opinion that would append nearly 50 years of proceeding, nevertheless represents the culmination of decades-long effort by activists and lawmakers to challenge abortion at all levels, from the individual to the constitutional. All right, so it goes in to talk about before Roe. It says in his 98th page draft opinion, Alito looked to the history of abortion policies in the U.S. to bolster his conclusion that Roe and Casey must be overruled. Okay, abortion is not a constitutionally protected right. Alito Rowe pointed out that the Constitution itself makes no reference to abortion, while he acknowledged that the court has interpreted the 14th Amendment to guarantee some rights that are not explicitly spelled out. Alito cited proceeding, stating that those rights must be deeply rooted in U.S. tradition and implicit in the concept of order liberty. And it says the right to abort does not fall within this category. Alito's draft said, up until the latter part of the 20th century, there was no support in American law for a constitutional right to obtain an abortion. Zero, none. All right, so, and it says the justice wrote that abortion was outlawed in 3/4 of the states at the time the 14th Amendment was adopted into the 1860s, and that 30 states had banned the procedure at all stages of pregnancy at the time Roe was argued before the court. All right, so let's skip down. Let's skip down to where it says that abortion laws grew harsher in many states in the mid-1800s, aided by physicians and the American Medical Association. They were driven in part by fears about the reproduction rates of Catholic immigrants and women avoiding motherhood, according to the group. All right, so the American Society for Legal History, in a separate brief, told the High Court that abortion continued after those laws were passed and accelerated during the Great Depression. That led some hospitals to craft reason for abortion to be allowed, which destabilized an already contentious status quo, the organization said. Medical advances in the mid-20th century made pregnancy and delivery much safer for women, diminishing the prevalence of abortion as a life-saving procedure. That in turn increased the risk of persecution for abortion performing physicians. It prompted many doctors in the 1960s to call for relaxing abortion regulation, the group said. All right. So it goes on to talk about by the early 1970s, both pro-life and pro-choice groups began advancing arguments in the Constitution, according to the brief. All right, so now let's just go back before I continue. Okay. Now, right here where it says up to 26 states are expected to impose new limits on abortion if Roe and Casey are overturned, according to a leading reproductive rights advocacy group. Okay. I think there is a lot of people that misinterpret it and think that, oh, abortion is an end all. Once they overturn the Roe versus Wade, is an end all be all for abortion. That's not necessarily the case. That's not necessarily the case. That doesn't necessarily mean that a woman would not be able to have an abortion, right? It's just there will be some limitation on it. Okay, there'll be some type of regulation on that. So it doesn't mean you can't go and get no abortion at all. And I think that's where a lot of people have a misunderstanding. And it's so funny when I hear people, especially women, all right? Excuse me for a moment. Okay. So it's my bad. It's very funny when I hear women say things like, "Oh, men need to stay off our reproductive system. They don't have no rights to speak on what we do with our body, etc., etc." Right? But here's the thing. And I gotta make sure my sound is okay, cause I forgot to do that. Okay, hold on. I'll make sure my sound is good. Make sure my sound is good. Okay, cool. Sorry about that little noise in the background. But anyways, getting back to the point, it's so interesting when women say things like, "Oh, they don't, men should not have a right to our bodies or tell us what we should do with our bodies, etc. The government needs to stay off our bodies and all that." Well, that sounds like a little good argument, don't it? That sounds like a very good argument, but here's the reality. It was the same government that you say that should stay off your body is the same government that gave you a right to your body. It's the same government that gave a right to say that women can have an abortion. Think about it. So the people that was in that high position at the time when Roe versus Wade came about and abortion became legal in the United States in 1973 were men. They were men. Now there were women who was pushing laws. There were women who was pushing laws and stuff who were protesting about it, but it was the men that made the final decision. It was the men who made the final decision. Okay? So think about that now. The same people you say they need to stay off your body, well, first of all, they're not really on your body per se. Now, let's just put it like that. They're not on your body. They're basically just setting limitation on the amount of abortion that women can have. That's all they doing. It's not like they're saying that you can't do it at all. Just like they can't tell you when to go get pregnant. You know what I'm saying? That's something that you make a decision on your own. You know what I mean? You decide when you want to get pregnant, when you want to go out here and have sex. Okay? But before I really get into my views about this, let's look up something. Let's look up who is Roe versus Wade. All right, so it said in 1970, an unmarried and pregnant woman in Texas, identified at that time by the pseudonym Jane Roe, brought a federal case against the district attorney for Dallas County. She alleged the state's abortion law was unconstitutional. The law violated her rights of personal privacy under the Constitution, alleged Roe, now known to be Norma Mccarvey or Mccarvey. All right. The federal district court that heard the case struck down the Texas abortion law, writing that the fundamental right of single women and married persons to choose whether to have children is protected by the 9th Amendment through the 14th Amendment. Okay? So check this out. It says in January of 1973, the Supreme Court, in a 7-2 ruling, held that the right to privacy conveyed by the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment allow a person to choose to have an abortion until the point of fatal viability. That line, which described the point at which a fetus is able to live outside the womb, was considered to be around 24 weeks after conception. The court ruled that the government has legitimate interest in protecting both the pregnant woman's health and the potentiality of human life, and said that the balance of those interests shift during each trimester of pregnancy. Okay. Now, there's plenty other laws after this. You got the Planned Parenthood versus Casey law. So, but that's something that I have to go into much later because I don't want to waste all the time to just focus on each and every law. But anyways, it's all about the court exam numerous abortion-related disputes in the years after its ruling in Roe. All right, so it talks about the Planned Parenthood versus Danford. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. I just lost track. Bingo. Okay, so there's other cases and laws that took place after the Roe versus Wade, but I don't want to spend too much time on them. All right, but see, this comes from cnbc.com. All right, so that can be checked out, be looked at, etc., etc. Woody woody woo. All right. Now, here's an interesting thing about this lady here, and I'm about to show you a picture of her. All right, this is Jane Roe, who is also who is known as Norma. What's her name? Shit. Find her name here. Let me go back to her picture. We'll bump it. Okay, that is Jane Roe, aka Norma Mccarvey or Mccarvey. So, this is the lady right here. Roe versus Wade. All right. She was the one that was in the courtroom that was fighting against the Supreme Court and said that abortion was unconstitutional. All right. So let's look at this lady's background. Because I don't think a lot of people really know. But here's the fact. Here it is. It says, Norma Lee Nelson Mccarvey, also known by the pseudonym Jane Roe, was a plaintiff in the landmark American legal case Roe versus Wade, in which the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in 1973 that individual state laws banning abortion were unconstitutional. Now, check this out. If you go down, later in her life, Mccarvey became an evangelical Protestant, and in her remaining years, a Roman Catholic, and took part in anti-abortion movement. Mccarvey stated then that her involvement in Roe was the biggest mistake of her life. See, that's the part that people don't know. This lady, if she was alive today, she would regret that decision. She would regret that she even played an active role in the Supreme Court decision. She will regret that. As you can see, the lady passed away in 2017 at the age of 69. She was 69 years old when she died. That lady will regret that decision because she eventually became a pro-lifer. And this is something that people don't talk about. People don't discuss that, how she ended up saying that I'm a pro-life. I don't believe in that. I made a mistake by playing my role into that. But hold on, I'm not finished yet. Hold on. She said during an interview shortly before her death in what Mccarvey referred to as her deathbed confession, she said she had been paid to speak against abortion and added that she continued to have abortion rights beliefs. Okay. All right, but check this out. I'm not gonna go into her biography like that, but they say that she from Simmersport, Louisiana. Okay, so she from Louisiana. All right. All right. So obviously, this lady had some form of rough life. I mean, just looking at her story. Okay, so yeah, she had a pretty rough upbringing. That's what it looks like. But let's go into this. And it said that, in 1968, at the age 21, Mccarvey became pregnant a third time and returned to Dallas. According to Mccarvey, friends advised her that she should assert falsely that she had been raped by a group of black men. Whoa! 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 Wait a minute. Hold on. Whoa! So her friends telling her that if she wanted to go get another abortion, that she needs to go to the clinic and tell them that she should make a false accusation and say she was raped by a group of black men. Wait a minute. These are her friends telling her that she needs to go and make accusation saying that she was raped by black men in order for her to get an abortion. Now, this is interesting. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let's read that part. Friends advised her that she should assert falsely that she had been raped by a group of black men and that she could thereby obtain a legal abortion under Texas law, which prohibited most abortion. Sources differ over whether Texas law had such a rape exception. It says, due to a lack of police evidence or documentation, the scheme was not successful, and Mccarvey later said it was a fabrication. She attempted to obtain an illegal abortion, but the recommended clinic had been closed down by authorities. Her doctor, Richard Lane, suggested that she consult Henry McCluskey, an adoption lawyer in Dallas. Mccarvey stated that she was only interested in abortion, but agreed to meet with McCluskey. Hold on. And hold up. It says eventually Mccarvey was referred to attorneys Linda Coffey and Sarah Woodington, who were looking for pregnant women who were seeking abortion. The case Roe versus Wade, Henry Wade was the district attorney, took 3 years of trial to reach the Supreme Court of the United States, and Mccarvey never attended a single trial. During the course of the lawsuit, Mccarvey gave birth and placed the baby for adoption. Mccarvey told the press that she was Jane Roe soon after the decision was reached, stating that she had sought an abortion because she was unemployable and greatly depressed. Wait a minute. So here's the funny part about that. This woman never went to trial about this whole thing. But once they put it into effect, and it says after the decision was reached, stating that she had sought an abortion because she was unemployable and greatly depressed. Now, that's interesting. But then it goes on to say, in 1983, Mccarvey told the press that she had been raped. And hold on, in 1987, she said the rape claim was untrue. So wait a minute. This lady been claimed that she was raped. She was claimed that she was raped. And turn around, it became untrue. So whoa, ho, 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 ho. So this leads to my suspicions that this lady been using this rape alibi, if you will, as a way for her to go about getting abortion. So she was making a rape accusation throughout her entire time, just so she can have an abortion. And her friends tried to encourage her to go to Texas, go to Dallas, and tell them that she was raped by black men just so she can have an abortion. She was raped by black men just so she can have an abortion. Huh. How much time do I have left? Okay, so I'll probably spend about close to an hour on here, not too long. But it is so funny. Wow. So she done made claims that she was raped and come to find out that shit was not true. Damn. But let's go down where it says anti-abortion activism. So in 1994, Mccarvey published her autobiography, I Am Roe, at a book signing. Mccarvey was befriended by Flip Bidham, an evangelical minister and the national director of anti-abortion organization Operation Rescue. She converted to evangelical Protestantism and was baptized on August 8, 1995 by Bidham in a Dallas, Texas backyard swimming pool, an event that was filmed for national television. 2 days later, she announced that she had quit her job at an abortion clinic and had become an advocate of Operation Rescue campaign to make abortion legal. She voiced remorse for her part in the Supreme Court decision and said she had been a pawn for abortion activists. She has been a pawn for abortion activists. She has been a pawn for abortion activists. This woman who went by the name Roe she said that she has been a pawn for abortion activists. But I'm not finished there. Hold on. Okay, so it says on August 17, 1998, Mccarvey was received into the Catholic Church in a mass celebrated by Father Edward Robertson, celebrated by Father Frank Pavone, director of Priests for Life at St. Thomas Aquinas Church in Dallas. McCarvey's second book, Won by Love, described her religious conversion and was published in 1998. In the book, she said that her change of heart occurred in 1995 when she okay, hold on. Can't you hear me now? Damn. Give me a moment, because somebody said that they can't, there's some type of noise in the background. Hold on. Let me see something. Let me check my sound. Give me a moment, you guys. I don't know what's going on here. Oh my God. Let me check my sound. Give me a moment, guys. Okay, cool. What was I at? Excuse me, what was I at? So, it says Mccarvey's second book, Won by Love, described her religious conversion and was published in 1998. In the book, she said that her change of heart occurred in 1995 when she saw a fetal development poster in an Operation Rescue office. So, and this is funny. What people don't know, in 2004, Mccarvey sought to have the U.S. Supreme Court overturn Roe versus Wade. This is the part they don't tell y'all. It's right here. This is where I'm reading it now. This is very shocking to me. It's very shocking to me. Well, it shouldn't be so shocking, especially the fact that her friends done told her that if she really want to get an abortion, just say that a group of black men done rape you. That part is not so shocking. I mean, it's mighty strange they would think of something like that, but you gotta know what time period that was when that came about. Again, that was around 1968, and that law didn't come into effect until 1973. But check this out. In 2004, Mccarvey sought to have the Supreme U.S. Court overturn Roe versus Wade, saying that there was now evidence that the procedure harms women, but the case was ultimately dismissed in 2005. On January 22nd, 2008, Mccarvey endorsed Republican presidential candidate Ron Paul because of his anti-abortion position. See, these are the things that we don't know. But Mccarvey remained active in anti-abortion demonstration, including one she participated in before President Barack Obama's commencement address to graduates of University of Notre Dame. Mccarvey was arrested on the first day of U.S. Senate hearings for the confirmation to the Supreme Court of the United States of Sonia Sotomayor after Mccarvey and another protester began shouting during Senator Al Franken's opening statement. Mccarvey appeared in the 2013 film Doomba, in which she delivers an anti-abortion message. She is also the subject of Joshua Prager's 2021 book, The Family Role: An American Story. Okay, so as you can see, well, I don't think y'all can see this. Hold on, let me post this shit up. Anyways. Okay, so now here's the argument. So one side said that it was financially motivated for her to come out to be an anti-abortionist, but another side said that she had remorse for what she did as far as her role in abortion and aborting her child and whatnot. So I didn't really go into a whole lot of this woman's biography, but as you can see, that woman had a rough life growing up. She had a rough childhood. As I was skimming through the page, I seen that her mother was an alcoholic. Her father left the family, and that basically she was given up for adoption and all this stuff, etc. So she had a very rough life. So which brought about traumatic experience on her. So I understand that, she was dealing with traumatic experience growing up and things like that. I get all that. But yeah, it's just very interesting. I don't think people actually know, like, that this woman later on converted into being religious, and she was very remorseful about the fact that she had, hold on, shit. I don't know what's going on with my sound. Damn, why is it okay? Hopefully my sound's still okay. But maybe it's because I'm moving around too much. I'm gonna stop moving. But anyways, I don't think people understand that this woman was very remorseful about her decision. Like, I don't think people actually read into the life of this woman. Like, you guys really have to go into deep into this woman's life. But enough talking about that lady. Yeah, just to give an idea. So now let's get into the historical context. All right. So before I actually get into my views, okay, because it's gonna take a little minute before I get into my views. People don't know that abortion been around. Let me see what's going on with my damn sound on here. Shit. Let's see if my sound's clear on the other end. Okay. Anyways, what people gotta understand that abortion has been a practice for a very long time. It didn't just start in the United States. It didn't just start in the medieval period. It's been an ancient practice. People have been having abortion since the beginning. And way before there was abortion procedures, right? There was this thing called abortifacient. Okay, so abortifacient is like a herbal or home remedy to have an abortion. All right. So people been doing it for the longest. It's not a new practice. Okay. It's not a modern day practice. It's been going on for a long time. Since the ancient Egyptian, the ancient Rome period, the ancient Greek period, abortion been a practice. All right. So that's what people got to know. That's the dark side of history. It's been going on. It's been a practice. It's not something that's going to ever end. It's not something that's going to stop anytime soon. You know, it's been a practice for a long time. Contraception been a practice for a long time. Okay, before condoms, before birth control, people had a way of using home remedy for birth controls. People done took the skin of a goat and made that into a condom. It's been a practice for a long time. Let's just be honest. I mean, if we go into studying the history, Planned Parenthood. I'm glad that you brought that up. Yes, Planned Parenthood. What a lot of people don't know is that was a form of sterilization for us in the inner city community. Margaret Sanger wanted to help depopulate the black community. You gotta understand that time period, the white folks, they wanted to encourage white women to keep having children, but tried to encourage black women to have children. And I did a previous video about sterilization. All right, well, women was forced to sterilize. They was forced into sterilizing, and a lot of them did not know that. Excuse me. A lot of them did not know that they were giving consent into sterilization. Most of those black women during the 70s from the South, they were illiterate. Okay. They didn't know how to read or write. They was sterilizing women that was in their 30s, in their 20s, and as young as 18, even young girls that was 14 years old. So Planned Parenthood was a form of sterilization. All right. It was part of the eugenic program, eugenic movement. Like, you guys can look that up for yourself. So now, instead of sterilizing women and telling women, hey, instead of making women go through the process of sterilization, etc., they would encourage them to go and abort their fetus. See, if people really know about what's really going on, like the real origin behind Planned Parenthood, if you guys really know, and if you look around in your community, Black people or minorities, so-called minorities, you will see a lot of more Planned Parenthood in your communities than you will see in the suburbs. You will see a lot more Planned Parenthood in the inner city communities than you will see in the suburbs. I mean, this is just something to think about. Think about it on the bright side now. I have yet to really go into my views about it because there's a lot of stuff that has to be covered on here. Let me see what I want to cover on. If you guys want to look it up, you can find out the history of abortion. You can just look it up on Wikipedia. Okay, so I'm not gonna really go into all of this, but just kind of like, show you guys. You guys can just pull up the history of abortion and you can read for yourself. All right, so there'll be a lot to cover. All right. Okay, so now I need to go ahead and start here. And also, this is another website. Go to sciencedirect.com. Look up abortion%. Right? You look up abortion%, and basically just dealing with the herbs that cause about miscarriage, abortion, etc. Okay, so you can read into all of this. Oh, it's actually a book. Let me see the title of the book. Okay, so it cannot be requested, blah blah blah. Okay, all right, so here it is. You guys can look at their website. Go to sciencedirect.com. All right, this article came out in 2010, so you can look into this on your own terms, etc. All right. Now, I might as well just go ahead and get into my position. Let me just go ahead and get into my position, because that way it'll be, that way I can go ahead and just kill the time. All right. So, my position on abortion. Me personally, I don't agree with abortion. I don't. I'm gonna be honest. I do not agree with abortion. Now, unless there is cases where there is a medical issue. And when I say medical issue, let's say if there is something going on with the mother's reproductive system where she cannot continue on with her pregnancy, okay? Or let's just say she has a life-threatening disease to where it can affect the fetus or her embryo or her infant, whatever, then that's understandable, because you might have a life-threatening disease, you might have some type of critical illness to where that you will have to go through the process of having an abortion. In the case if a woman was raped, or if a child was raped, and it could be proven, right, then yes, I understand that abortion should be an option on the table, because you have a case of somebody that was forced against their own will due to an incident which led them to their pregnancy. All right. And now some women choose to still have children after they done been raped. Okay. And I understand that too. That's your choice if that's what you want to do. But I think that should be an option on the table, because if some stranger especially kidnaps you and take you somewhere into the bushes or woods and all of a sudden get you pregnant after hours of torture, you won't want a child by them. You won't want to carry that baby. You won't want to do that. You won't want to have to deal with that. So that's understandable. Okay, that's very understandable. If it was a case where a family member impregnate another family member, which they call that incest, which that will basically be a result from rape, especially if it involves a child, then that's very understandable too, because who wants a baby by their uncle? Who wants a baby by their daddy? You know what I'm saying? Who would want a baby by their brother? Who would want a baby by their own family member? I wouldn't want no baby by my own family member. You know what I'm saying? So those things, that is understandable. I get that. You know what I'm saying? I can see that those things being the case. Now, this is where my issue come into place. And I got some statistics to support this, okay? When you as a woman, you engage into sexual activity, right? You have consensual sex with a man. You know there is an outcome. You know there is a probability. There is a probability of you becoming pregnant, okay? Now, you put yourself in that situation. Even with a man, if you think that condoms work 100% of the time, it doesn't. It's not going to work 100% of the time. There's going to be time that a condom might break while you engaging in the sexual activity with the woman. You may not hear it break, but you ain't going to realize that until later on. And then, even when you take contraception, okay? Contraception might be effective maybe 80% of the time. It might be effective maybe 75% of the time. You know what I'm saying? But you still have a chance of becoming pregnant. Oh, even when people take what you call that shit? Plan B. So people take Plan B. So let me break something down for those of you that don't know what Plan B is. Plan B is like the pre-abortion pill. That's all it is, a pre-abortion pill. Keyword pre-abortion. That means before you go through the state of ovulation, right, it will stop it. It's supposed to stop the ovulation right then and there. Okay, so let's say if you had unprotected sex, or let's say you had unprotected sex, or let's say you did have sex and somebody's condom break or whatever the case. You're supposed to take that Plan B within 72 hours. Okay, so within that 72-hour range, that's when you're supposed to take that pill, because that pill is supposed to it's supposed to stop the fertilization. It's supposed to stop the ovulation process. That's what it's supposed to do. Okay. Now, again, it may work majority of the time. But even with Plan B, it does not always become effective, because the woman can still get pregnant. There has been stories of women saying that they done took Plan B and still end up pregnant. What I'm trying to show you is that nature has power. Nature is in control. We're not in control as human as we think. If nature want to come in and intervene with our process, our human process, guess what? Nature is going to do so. And ain't shit that we can do to stop nature. Okay? So if we took biology in school, right, and took these health classes and understand our reproductive system. Now, you're not gonna know everything about your reproductive system, especially as a female, because it's a lot to our reproductive system than it is to the males. But if you understand how these things work and how the process work, especially when you have sexual intercourse, right, you will know that there are always possibilities. Okay. So when you out here having sex with multiple men, or let's say you having sex with one man and that man doesn't wear a condom at all, you have a higher chance of becoming pregnant. You have a much higher chance of becoming pregnant. Keyword chances. Not absolute, but you have a much higher chance of becoming pregnant. And you have a greater chance of being exposed to disease as well. But when you wear contraception or use contraception, you have a low chance of pregnancy. There's still chances out there, but it's at a low percentage. It's at a very low percentage. So, let me see. Russian concussion said a lot of people will rip on you for this. A lot of people also don't like to be accountable. Well, guess what? You know, this ain't my first rodeo. I'm going to tell you that right now. This is not my first rodeo. I done had debates with people. I done had debates with people on social media, on Facebook, about this subject a long time ago. I done been attacked by feminist group. I done been attacked by the pro-choice people. I've been attacked, okay? I done had back and forth debates with folks about this for a long time. All right. So this ain't my first rodeo. And then if they come on this comment section and start going in, I won't be surprised, because guess what? And here's another thing too. And I want to say this to the pro-choice people out there. You cannot, under any circumstances, make people be pro-choice like you. Just like you don't want to be pro-life, you can't make people be pro-choice. Okay? I had a sister tell me the other day, and I got much love for the sister, but she said to me that you don't have a right to your opinion when it comes to pro-choice and abortion. And it's like, that's wrong. Yes, you do have a right to your opinion. And then they say that men don't have their right to their opinion about it. Well, yes, they can always have their opinion. They can be entitled to it. Now, the question is, would their opinion matters? It depends. Okay? Now, here's another argument, since I'm talking about men right now. Well, should men have some type of say-so when it comes to women making a decision on abortion? I say in certain cases, yes. Let me tell you why. Let's say if you and this man was involved in a relationship and y'all was planning to have a family, and you find out that you're pregnant. You tell this man that you're pregnant. He gets excited, and he tells his friends and family that, oh, I'm getting ready to become a father. All right. I'm getting ready to become a father. I'm getting ready to start my own family, etc., etc. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. Then you turn around and go behind his back, and you get an abortion. And he finds out later that there is no baby involved in the picture. Now he's upset. Now he's angry. Now he's disgruntled. I think that he should have every right to be upset, because it's like this. You done led him on to believe that he's going to become a father without even having a conversation and say, all right, well, this is what I choose to do. I'm looking forward to going through this procedure of terminating the pregnancy. You know, at least if you guys plan on doing stuff like that, you know, you both can be on the same page and be able to have a better understanding, and just be able, both can agree on that if that's the decision that is going to be made. But just go behind the man's back and get rid of the child and then come back and say, oh, I done got an abortion. To me, that's very spiteful. That's very spiteful, and that's very counterproductive. So you can't get mad when the man decides that he wants to move on with his life and find another woman who wants to start a family, because obviously you wasn't ready. So if you wasn't ready to start a family, then he gonna move on to somebody else that will. And so I think that should be an option on the table where they at least, before you even consider to make that type of decision, give others who cannot have children opportunity to adopt kids. So or at least give that opportunity to the father, so he can be able to be active in the child's life and raise the child and all of that if you're not ready, and that's just what I stand on that too. Give some type of option. Give option available to other people. Don't just make that radical decision, because it is a radical decision, when you have an abortion. And I don't know how people think that it doesn't affect you mentally later on, because there's women today who talk about how they're psychologically affected by their decision, and they wish they would have kept their child. See, but this is what people don't talk about. They don't talk about how it affects the woman psychologically. Going through abortion procedure, and if anybody done seen the video where how the process is performed and all of that, y'all will be very disgusted. Y'all will be very disgusted. I know I was very disgusted when I seen the video. Oh my goodness. I mean, it's like it'll make your stomach curl. It'll make you want to not eat for days. Who wants to go through that process of, excuse me, let me take my... Okay, I'm back, y'all. I'm sorry about that. I had to take my jacket off. It's hot. But who wants to go through that process? I mean, it's very gruesome to watch. A woman actually going through the process of aborting her fetus. And it's just really, oh my goodness. Like, if you guys really seen videos, you can find it on YouTube if you want to, but you better have a very strong stomach and an open mind to watch it, because that shit is scary. It's scary as hell. So I don't imagine as a woman going back and forth to the clinic like it's a birth control center. I say the smartest thing to do, this is just my opinion, the smartest thing to do is to think before you let it go. You know what I'm saying? Or to become celibate. You know what I'm saying? Until you can find somebody that you are willing to settle down with. Instead of keep putting yourself at a risk of having babies by men that you don't want to have children by. You know what I'm saying? We got to start thinking outside the box as human. I mean, sex is natural. Don't get me wrong. You want to have sex and you find somebody attractive or whatnot. But you got to understand that there's an outcome to that too. I mean, you can't just be going out here having all these one night stands or you live a lifestyle as a prostitute and you thinking that pregnancy is not going to happen. Because 9 times out of 10, at some point in time, it will happen. It will take place. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the reasons why I don't condone prostitution. I don't condone it. I understand why people do it, but I don't condone prostitution. I only condone people doing pornography. You know what I'm saying? I mean, pornos are entertaining. But on the flip side of it, there's a lot of major health risks in engaging into pornography. And there's a lot of risk in engaging into prostitution. You know what I'm saying? So, but let's go ahead and let's continue. All right, so the website that I'm looking under, right? I'll make this real fast and quick. Okay. This one's called Reasons U.S. Women Have Abortion Quantitative and Qualitative Perspective. All right. So this came out in September 2005. All right. It came out in September 2005. It says context. Understanding women's reason for having abortion can inform public debate and policy regarding abortion and unwanted pregnancy. Demographic changes over the last 2 decades highlight the need for a reassessment of why women decide to have abortions. Okay, so check this out. All right, so let's read. It says methods. In 2004, a structured survey was completed by 1,209 abortion patients at 11 large providers, and in-depth interviews were conducted with 38 women at 4 sites. All right, was it bivalent? Is it bivalent? Yeah, bivalent analysis examined differences in the reason for abortion across subgroups, and multivariate logistic regression models assessed association between respondent characteristics and reported reasons. It says results. The reason most frequently cited were that having a child would interfere with a woman's education, work, or ability to care for dependents. 74%. That she could not afford a baby now. 73%. Wait a minute. And that she did not want to be a single mother or was having relationship problems. 48%. Nearly 4 in 10 women said that they had completed their childbearing, and almost 1/3 were not ready to have a child. All right, so fewer than 1% said their parents or partners' desire for them to have an abortion was the most important reason. Younger women often reported that they were unprepared for the transition to motherhood, while older women regularly cited their responsibilities to dependents. You said the key word, social economics. Okay? Now, I will say this. Okay, some of it can be understandable. I still don't agree, but some of it is understandable. You know, such as when it comes to financial crisis, I understand. I don't agree, but I understand why that decision will be made. And the reason why I don't agree, because again, there's always option available to where a child could be sent up for adoption, you know, or there can be other family members that want to get involved and help out and stuff like that. So there can always be option. But as you can see here, based on the information that I presented right here, a lot of these women, when they go get an abortion, let's be real, they not getting abortion because only few of them get abortion if they was raped. Only a few would get abortion if it was incest. Only few would get abortion if it was medical issue. Okay? But most of them get abortion for social economic reason, because they cannot afford to take care of a child, or because they don't want to become single parents, or because they don't want their body going through changes and they admire their body so much, they love their figure so much that they ain't trying to change what they look like for no baby. And because they just don't want to have a baby with the man they done had sexual intercourse with. Those are the main reasons. Those are the main reason why women go get an abortion. And I think, and like I said, some of it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Some of it makes sense. Some of it makes sense. You know, it's understandable. With the financial part, it's understandable because you may lose a job and you can't take care of that child. But then you got to ask yourself, well, damn, if you can afford to pay $350 or $400, because you know abortion ain't cheap. You know, it ain't cheap to go get no abortion, right? So if you can raise up $300-$400 to get rid of a child, then why can't you not make a sacrifice to raise them? And see, here's the downfall of that. People have this misconception that because you're born into poverty, that you're going to automatically stay there. And that's not always true. Do you know there's a lot of people, there's people who born into a large family that grew up poor and they were able to get out of poverty. Now, again, we deal with chances. Life is based on chances. Life is based on probability, okay? It's not based on absolutism. When I say absolutism, the only thing we know that's absolute is death. We know that you're going to die. You're going to die at some point in time. You're going to die, okay? But everything else is not based on absolutism, all right? So you can't say that a person's going to be absolutely poor for the rest of their lives because they done had multiple children. And I can't stand when people blame the woman for having multiple kids. You know what I'm saying? You can't just blame the woman because she done had 9 or 10 kids and she's on government assistance. You got to blame the economic system that we're in, because as human, we are here to procreate. We are here to procreate. We are here to produce life. So it's up to our government to make sure that we have adequate resources, right? And we have jobs available and livable wages so we can take care of our family. You know what I'm saying? So first of all, before you could blame the woman for having kids, because whether you rich or poor, somebody's going to end up pregnant. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's going to end up pregnant, whether you rich or poor. It doesn't matter. What you have to place the blame on is the government system. The government has to take the blame first. All right? Because the type of economic system that we living in, that's the primary blame. What type of adequate resources are you providing for your citizens? What type of livable wages are they getting? So before you go blame that woman or blame that man for having sex and getting making a baby, and I mean, I'm not saying that they should just randomly have sex with each other and have children. I mean, you want to be smart, but the truth of the matter is people going to do it. People are going to have sex and they're going to have kids, whether they're rich, poor, or in the middle. And there's no such thing really being in the middle, but you see what you get the legit of my argument here. My thing is, you cannot blame those individuals because that's what we came here to do as humans. We came here to do that as humans. That's the main purpose of having sex. From a biology standpoint, right? If we're going to talk anthropology and biology, let's be real. There's a purpose of having sex, and the purpose of having sex is to primarily procreate. That's the primary reason. You procreating. That's how you bring human life on the planet. That's how you bring human life on the planet. If humans was to stop having sex because, or let's just say humans was to stop having kids because of the fact they poor and all of that, there'll be less humans on the planet. All right. And then when you have less human, then how you going to keep up with your productivity? How you going to keep up with production, wealth, and consumption? How you going to keep up with that if there was less human beings? So, you know, that's impossible. It's impossible. People are going to still have children. All right. People are still going to have kids. Regarding what their circumstances are, they're going to still have children. And see, if you grew up in the South, if you go in the country, you'll see that Big Mama done had over 11 kids. Big Mama had 11 and 12 kids, or maybe 17. That's a lot of kids to have, right? It is. But that's just how it was in the country. So, you know, them folks in the country, they believed in having a large family. You know what I mean? So somewhere down the line, right, when you come from a large family like that, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be poor, because somebody in that family is going to end up becoming successful. And then here's the dark side of it. Women have children because they know that they can get paid more money. So the more, let's say you got a job and you file your income taxes. When you file your kids on your income taxes, you get more revenue, right? And that's another reason why women do that. Oh, because they see that they child, especially, and don't let the child have certain type of medical issue, right? Like, let's say if the child have autism, or if the baby has some type of physical disability or something like that, you know, you can get an SSI check for kids like that. You understand what I'm saying? And parents and mothers look at that as a paycheck, as a payday, which to me that's low down dirty. You don't do that. You don't use your kid as financial policy. You don't use your kids as a financial policy. You know, you take on the responsibility of raising them and taking care of them. But that's how some parents do. They hustle their children to get money off of them. So some people don't have good intentions when it comes to having kids. They see that as a financial hustle. Oh boy, there's so many stories about people giving their own kids up for adoption, like selling their kids instead of going through adoption agency. They will sell their kids off to other people who want to have kids. Like, let's say if it's a newborn baby, they might sell that newborn baby off for $2,000, $3,000. I mean, I done heard so many ridiculous stories. I'm like, well, goddamn, what the hell? So you just getting pregnant just so you can sell your kids with goddamn. But yeah, I mean, you'll be amazed by the things that you hear. It's amazing. A lot of the stuff that I hear, I'm just so amazed by. I'm like, wow. But anyways, that was kind of off the subject. But yeah, just getting back to the point, humans going to continue to procreate. Let's just face the reality. Humans are going to procreate. Savages in pursuit of happiness. Yep. Exactly. Peace, thirsty uno. Peace to you, brother. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for coming through. All right. Again, you guys can check out this article right here. I don't have to go any further. What the hell? All right, so you can check this article out. It's come from gutmatcherinstitute.org. Perspective on Sexual and Reproductive Health, a journal of peer-reviewed research. This came out in 2005. Now, here's another one. All right, let me take that off the way. Now, here's another one right here. Okay. This one is called The Human's Life International. Why Women Abort, and this came out May the 5th of 2021. Okay, this was updated on May the 5th, 2021. Now, this is the one that I actually posted up on my page. All right, but look, check this out. It says Americans are appallingly ignorant on abortion statistics. One poll showed that California college students believed that abortion was illegal after the first trimester, and that there are less than 100,000 abortions done in the United States every year. The actual number is more than 10 times as many surgical and chemical abortions. And of course, abortion is freely available throughout all 9 months of pregnancy. Yeah. And I'm going to go into the topic about late-term abortion because, see, that's where I have a serious problem. I have a major problem. And that's when I'm going to get real radical on that level. So, I might do a part 2 of this talking about the late term abortion, because yeah, I'm gonna get real radical on here, and that's when I'm gonna get some people really upset. But anyways, it says many people also grossly overestimate the percentage of abortion done to save women's lives or physical health in case of rape and incest or to avoid birth defects. This is a fallacy that pro-abortion groups continue to cultivate because it helps them to spread abortion in nation with pro-life laws and to retain abortion on demand once they have achieved it. Public opinions poll conducted over the years in the United States revealed that people generally believe that hard cases account for anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2 of all abortion. All right. All right, so it says here, 3.5% of abortion are for the hard cases. Calculation based on statistics provided by medical journals and government surveys in the United States show that abortion for hard cases are much rarer than most people believe. Why women have abortion? All right, so here is the percentage. Right, so right here in the yellow is birth defects, okay, and the orange is mental health of the mother, and the rest of it is physical health of the mother, which is the dark blue color, okay, that little small dark blue color right there, and rape or incest, which is the gray color that you can barely see. But the large reason is social and economic reasons. So that's the most percentage right here. Okay, that make up the most percentage. So it says a survey of more than 2.4 million aborting women performed by the states of Florida, Louisiana, Minnesota, Nebraska, South Dakota, and Utah during the years of 1996 to 2020 give us an accurate estimate of the number of hard cases abortion. Since these are the numbers that abortion clinics must report in official document to these states. So it says 1.14% are done to save the lives or physical health of the mother. 1.28% to preserve the mental health of the mother, 0.39% in cases of rape or incest, 0.69% for fatal birth defects or eugenics, 3.50% for all hard cases combined. Okay, but 96.50% of all abortion are therefore performed for social or economic reasons. And says even the Guttmacher Institute put the numbers of abortion done for the hard cases under 7% after doing several surveys of women obtaining abortion. The Guttmacher Institute was the research arm of the Planned Parenthood Federation of America, the largest chain of abortion clinics in the United States. It is considered the most reliable provider of accurate statistics on abortion. So as you can see, even on this website, it says 96.50% of all abortion are therefore performed for social or economic reasons. And that's the truth. I mean, you can look it up for yourself if you don't agree with me. This is the statistics. And I already knew this, okay? I already knew it before I even read the statistics. Way before I even post up the information on Facebook, I already knew. Because I knew just by conversation and just by hearing women say that, I already knew that. But that's the case. Okay, so let's see. The doctor OB/GYN treats the patient as two separate people and gets this. If it's your body, do you have two heads or one? Okay, that's a good question. If it's your body, do you have two heads or one? That's a good question. That's a great question right there. If it's your body, do you have two heads or do you have one? That's a nice question. Because last time I checked, and and his before I can continue, can't you guys hear me? Because the service just went out on me. So I need to make sure everybody can hear me before I can continue. Let me check. Okay. So oh, and I also see your question on here. So for some reason, sometimes YouTube don't be posting chat rooms questions like that. They try to hide it or whatever. But anyway, somebody asked the question. So if abortion is my body, my choice, for you, some idiots, how come a crackhead can get arrested for doing crack while pregnant? Oh yeah, forgot because it ain't her body. Ooh, 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 that's a good one. Ooh, that's a good one. Cause I was just about to get into that point before my sound had went out. That's a good argument. That's a good one. No, that's a good one. Let me tell you why. See, this is the part where it becomes confusing. Someone say that the fetus is not a human. I hear that a lot. The fetus is not a human. So if the fetus is not a human, then what is it? Because let's be mathematical here. Approximately 25 days, right? 25 days is not even a month. It's not even a month into your pregnancy. 25 days, the baby heart is beating. Did you guys know that? 25 days, the baby heart is beating. So if the baby's heart is beating within 25 days, right? That means that there is life in that child's body. That means that there is life, that there is some form of human life there. So the question becomes, you say a fetus is not a human, but then hold on. In criminology, if those of you that study criminology, right, there's a term called feticide. And do you know what a feticide is? A feticide is a killing of a fetus, a killing of an unborn child. And guess what it leads up to? The word abortion. It is the killing of an unborn child. Is to terminate, to abort. So do you know in criminology, right? In the criminal justice, if you assault a pregnant woman and you kill her baby, right? The baby dies, the unborn child dies. Do you know your ass will go to jail for killing that unborn child? Now, they made that argument in criminology that the fetus basically, so therefore the fetus have a life. The fetus is a human in this case, okay? It's an unborn child. But then on the other side, in the medical, in the pro-choice eye, the fetus is not a human. Well, which one is it? Because obviously you don't study criminology. Because criminology, they tell you that if you killed a fetus or unborn child, that is a crime in itself. You know, you can get capital punishment. That's how serious it is. And if you kill both the woman and the child, that is double homicide. So to me, the logic there doesn't make sense. So therefore, that goes to show you that the fetus, in fact, is a human, because that's how human starts off. You start off as an embryo, then you become a fetus, then you become an infant, then you go through your stages of life outside of your mother's womb. That is the start of humanity. What the hell do you mean that it's not a human? It's an organism, and do you know what an organism is? An organism is a living being. An organism is a living being. So anything that can live can also die. Let me say that again. Anything that can live can also die. So therefore, if you terminate your pregnancy, that means you basically done killed your fetus. And they have a term for that. It's called feticide. Let me look at it. As a matter of fact, I will pull it up for you right now. I will pull it up for you right now. Because see, this is what it dispels all this confusion and argument. All this enigma about whether a fetus is a human or not. Let's look up the term feticide. See, a lot of y'all don't know about this terminology. Okay, let's look it up. Let's go under Merriam-Webster dictionary. Feticide is what? The act of causing the death of a fetus. Keyword, death of a fetus. So you're telling me that abortion is not a form of feticide? You're telling me that abortion is not a form of feticide? Abortion is a form of feticide because you're causing a death of a fetus, which is an organism. It's a living being. Okay? Anything that can live can also die. Remember that. And if abortion is not killing, then why are those fetus not here today to give their testimony? If abortion is not the legal form of killing, because let's be honest, let's be technical, we're not going to sugarcoat it, we're going to be for real about this. If abortion is not a form of killing, then why there is no fetus alive today to give their testimony? I'm waiting. Why? Because guess what? You killed it. I mean, it's not you per se as the mother, but you don't went through the procedure to get it killed. That's why it's not alive. So when I hear people make an argument that a fetus is not a human, well, good God Almighty, how in the fuck did you get here? That's what I be wanting to know. How the fuck did you get here? How did you come into formation? Oh, and then I say, okay, if it's not, okay, well, if you want to argue that a fetus is not a human, I'm going to let you live with that. But guess what? The fetus is an organism. It may not be a human, but guess what? It's a fucking organism. And an organism is a fucking living being. It's a fucking living being. And my argument would be that anything that can live can also die. So when you have a miscarriage, which they call that spontaneous abortion, look that up. A miscarriage is called a spontaneous abortion. That means that the baby naturally died on its own. Okay? So they call it spontaneous abortion. So when you have a miscarriage, that means your baby actually died on its own. Your baby did not survive. So something had to happen in order for that baby to die. It's a fucking organism. We are all organisms. You learn this in biology. Every living being is an organism. Even bacteria is an organism. Cells are organisms. Okay? A fungus is an organism. So you're telling me a fetus is not an organism? If not, then let's go back and let's pull it up. Hold on. You're telling me, and peace to brother Vinyasa. Shout out to brother Vinyasa. Peace to you, brother. Um, If you're telling me that we're not organism, then maybe you done failed biology. I know biology is a very hard course, but come on now. You got to get the basic of that. You got to get the gist of that. Right here, it says in biology, an organism, instrument, implemented tool is any organic living system. Keyword living system that function as an individual entity. All organisms are composed of cells. Okay, organisms are classified by taxonomy into groups such as multicellular animals, plants, and fungi, or unicellular microorganisms such as protists, bacteria, and archaea. All types of organisms are capable of reproduction, growth, and development. Growth and development is. Wait a minute. Let me ask y'all a question. Let me ask y'all something. Since we right here where it says growth and development, right? This is just. Okay, my bad. I'm back, y'all. I'm back. I'm back. I hit the wrong button. Now, right here where it says growth and development. Are you telling me? I'm back. I'm sorry. I'm back. I know. I just came back. So, growth and development. Are you telling me that a fetus do not go through the process of growth and development inside a mother's womb? Are you telling me that a fetus do not go through the process of growth and development inside its mother's womb? It does. It does. Now again, I'm not. I'm gonna put it to you like this. I'm not a scientific nerd. I love science, but I'm not a scientific nerd, and I know biology is the most complex subject to study. But there's a basic form of biology that we gotta learn, and that is organism. That is organism. Come on now. Come on now. Check this out. Maintenance and some degree of response to stimuli, beetles, squelettes, tetrapods, mushroom, and vascular plants are example of multicellular organism that differentiates specialized tissue and organs during development. And as humans, we carry what is called the pro, prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells, right? Okay. All right. So the prokaryotic cell, right, is normally dealing with just the cells of the bacteria and the archaea. Okay, and the eukaryotic cells contains with the mitochondrial process. So we go through the process of mitosis and meiosis. So mitosis dealing with the blood cells, and the meiosis dealing with the chromosomes, right? So you go through the different four phases. You go through the interphase, anaphase, metaphase, and prophase, right? Interphase, anaphase, metaphase, and prophase. So you go through those different phases of developing a cell. But when it comes to meiosis cells, right, you have to go through the second process of developing the chromosomes. So the chromosomes is what gives you your gender identity. It determines whether you are XY, right? That is for the male, and or you have a double X chromosome, which is for the female. Okay. Okay. So each of your parents, right, have 23 chromosomes. But combine it together, you have 46 chromosomes. Okay? Combined together because you carry each chromosome from both of your parents. You carry 23 from your mama, you carry 23 from your daddy. I mean, this is something that is very basic. Like, when I hear people make this argument and claim that a fetus is not a human, then I have to ask them, well, damn, if it ain't a human, then that means that it ain't an organism. What the hell are you saying? I have to look at you sideways. This is why I have an issue. I have to look at you sideways like that. I have to look at you like, I look at people sideways. I'm sorry. I have to look at you sideways. I have to look at you like something is wrong with you. Because the left-wing radicalist people, they done failed y'all asses. If they sit up there telling you that a fetus is not a human, but it's entitled to human values when it comes to criminology. Come on now. It's only entitled of human values when it comes to criminology. When it comes to an instant where the mother is in danger, that's the only time the fetus is entitled to human values. But when it's come time for the abortion process, it's not entitled to human values. Then what? Make it make sense. 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 Let me see. Let me see if I got anything else on here on the chat in my phone. Hold up. Okay, so I have to look it up on my phone because it's not going to show up on the comment on the computer. Why? I don't know. YouTube have this whole restriction thing going on, whatever. Okay, so it says, have you debated college kids? They really need to hear you. You a bit loud for my taste, but you know your shit and people need to hear this. No, I never debated college kids before, but I would love to. It says you don't have to study criminology. You either know your shit or not. I get what you're saying. Right. And let's see. Red 5 Golf said to keep the black population in check. Man, I'm telling you, a lot of this stuff goes deep, y'all really gotta study a lot into this stuff, man. Y'all really don't. I wish people really actually study the whole intent behind this. At the end of the day, you can make your decision what you decide what you want to do, because can't nobody stop you. Okay, all right. I mean, I can't physically stop a person from going to abortion clinic. If they're gonna make that conscious decision, they're gonna make that decision. But at least I can give you a reason to think before you do something. You know what I'm saying? I can give you a reason to think. But I cannot stop you. I can't personally say, I can't do that. Because at the end of the day, you're going to make your own decision. But you better think about this. You better realize what it does to your subconscious. That's all I'm saying. And then the pro-lifer want to beat you up because you stand on your position. All right, so anyways, let's go into the last article. I know this video, I did not intend to be here for this long, but let me hurry up because This is dealing with the abortion and mental health controversy. Okay, and comprehensive literature review of common ground agreements, disagreement, actionable recommendation, and research opportunity. All right, this is on October the 29th of 2018. You can find this on National Library of Medicine. All right, National Center for Biotechnology Information. Okay. All right, so there's the introduction. So here's the introduction, and the abstract is like the pre-introduction, basically. So it says the abortion mental health controversy is driven by two perspectives regarding how best to interpret accepted facts when interpreting the data. Hold on. Okay. All right. So it says when interpreting the data, abortion and mental health proponents are inclined to emphasize risk and associated with abortion, whereas abortion and mental health minimalists emphasize pre-existing risk factors as the primary explanation for the correlation with more negative outcomes. Still, both sides agree that abortion is consistently associated with elevating rates of mental illness compared to women without a history of abortion. The abortion experience directly contributes to mental health problems for at least some women. And there are risk factors such as pre-existing mental illness that identify women at greater risk of mental health problem after an abortion. And D, it is impossible to conduct research in this field in a manner that can definitively identify the extent to which any mental health illness following abortion can be reliably attributed to abortion in and of itself. All right. The areas of disagreement which are most nuanced are addressed at length. Obstacles in the way of research and further consensus, including a multiple pathways for abortion and mental health risk, right? Concurrent positive and negative reaction, indeterminate times frame and degrees of reaction, poorly defined terms, multiple factors of causation, and inherent preconception based on ideology and disproportionate exposure to different types of women. Recommendation for collaboration include mixed research teams, co-design of national longitudinal perspective, studies accessible to any researcher, better adherence to data sharing and reanalysis standards, and attention to broader list of research questions. Okay, so what I just read, right, and I have not even got into that, but it just gives you an idea of the mental health problem that women face after they have went through the process of having abortion. Now, any woman that sit here and tell you that if her ass done went through abortion, that she ain't never had no mental breakdown, she's never been remorseful, and she never cried, 9 times out of 10, she lying. 9 times out of 10, she's lying. She's lying. She just don't want to open up about the situation. But I can guarantee you that if she done went through the process of having abortion, especially multiple abortions, she done went through some type of psychological issue behind it. But she just covering that shit up and not telling nobody. But let's talk about it. Let's go ahead. Let's go into it. Let's get into this. Okay. Now, okay, so that's the introduction. All right. Hold on, you guys. Give me one moment. Okay. So I'm back. I'm back. I hope that you guys can hear me now. Okay. So let me make sure everything's good over here. I mean, this is something that is very concurrent, positive, and negative reaction. Hey, give me a moment, you guys. All right, so I hope you guys can still hear me. I have to keep checking my sound because my sound will tend to go out. But let me go ahead and continue. All right, so right here, it goes into the introduction. It says in the 1992 Journal of Social Issues, dedicating an entire issue to psychological effects of induced abortion. In an overview of the contributor papers, the editor, Dr. Gregory Wilmot, concluded, there is now virtually no disagreement among researchers that some women experience negative psychological reaction pro-abortion. Again, that keyword, what is pro-abortion? That means after having the abortion. After having the abortion, okay? And I hope you guys can still hear me, all right? Before I continue, let me check my sound over here because I'm checking my sound on my cell phone because I want to make sure you guys can be able to hear me. Before I continue, let me check my sound over here because I'm checking my sound on my cell phone. All right. Ooh, Lord have mercy. All right, then, good. Okay, so my sound is good. I got to keep checking my sound every time because this shit will go out. All right, so check this out. I'm going to read this part again. There is now virtually no disagreement amongst researchers that some women experience negative psychological reaction post-abortion. Instead, the disagreement concerns the following: the prevalence of women who have these experiences, the severity of these negative reactions, the definition of what severity of negative reaction constitute a public health or mental health problem, and the classification of severe reaction. All right, so the 26 years later, the body of literature has grown. Today, there are many additional areas of agreement, but the areas of disagreement have also grown. Okay? All right, so here is the area of agreements. All right? Abortion contributes to negative outcome for at least some women. Check this out. So the 2008 report of the American Psychological Association Task Force on Mental Health and Abortion conclude that it is clear that some women do experience sadness, griefs, and feelings of loss following termination of a pregnancy, and some experience clinically significant disorder, including depression and anxiety. All right, indeed, Task Force Chair Brenda Major, example, OWN's research had reported that 2 years after their abortion, 1.5% of women participating in her case series, 38% of the 1,177 eligible women after dropouts had all the symptoms for abortion specific post-traumatic stress disorder. In addition, she found that compared to their 1 month post-abortion assessment, at 2 years, the participating remnant had significantly rising rates of depression and negative reaction and lowering rates of positive reaction, relief, and decision satisfaction. All right. And it says that the fact that some women do have maladjustments is most specifically documented in case studies developed by post-abortion counselors successfully treating women with maladjustments, including counselors working from a pro-choice perspective, as well as from those working from a pro-life perspective. Now, why is this not a discussion? Why is this not a topic of the conversation? Why is this not a topic of the conversation? Why do they not talk about the mental health after women go through the process of having abortions? Why don't you guys talk about this? For those of you that are some of the pro-life and most of all the pro-choice, why don't you talk about the mental health? Because as you can see, both parties can agree that there is mental issues after a woman has gone through the process of aborting her fetus. Now, for those of you that's just coming in watching my channel, I don't expect for you to watch my video all the way through because I have some mild adjustment to my sound and my microphone and stuff like that. So if you guys want to skip some of the stuff, you know what I mean, you guys can do that when, once I get done with this video and whatnot, you guys can skip through and see what I'm talking about here. You ain't got to watch the whole thing because I know it's very long and I intend to be on here too long, but it just happened. Even one of the harshest critics of the myth of abortion trauma, psychiatrist Nadia L. Scotland, subsequently reported her own clinical experience treating a patient whose miscarriage triggered a mental health crisis arising from unresolved issues regarding a prior abortion. Scotland, who later served as president of the American Psychiatric Association, subsequently began to recommend screening of prospective abortion patients for risk factors in order to guide decision counseling and identify additional counseling needs. And some groups of women are predictably at greater risk of negative outcomes. Here it goes. Check this out. There is a strong research base consistent that there are numerous risk factors that can be used to identify which women are at greater risk of negative psychological outcomes following one or more abortions. Indeed, the TFMHA concluded that one of the few areas of research which can be most effectively studied is in regard to efforts to identify those women who might be more or less likely than others to show adverse or positive psychological outcomes following an abortion. All right, so again, TFMHA stand for Task Force on Mental Health and Abortion. All right. So check this out. It says TFMHA itself identified at least 15 risk factors for increased risk of negative reaction. While the TFMHA did not report on the percentage of women exhibiting each risk factor. All right, so it goes into the table. It says Table 1 provides ranges of the incidence of each TFMHA risk factor as reported in the literature. All right, the incidence rate shown in Table 1 clearly suggests that the majority of women seeking abortion have one or more of the TFMHA identified risk factors, since exposure to multiple abortion is one of the risk factors. That risk factor alone applies to approximately half of all women having abortion, at least in the United States. Okay, so here are the tables. Risk factors for mental health problems after an abortion identified by the American Psychological Association Task Force on Mental Health and Abortion in 2008. Okay, so it says lack of perceived social support from others, 44%. Feelings of stigma, perceived needs for secrecy, 47 to 56%. Exposure to anti-abortion picketing, 87%. Low perceived or anticipated social support for the abortion decision. Okay, percentage at risk not reported. A prior history of mental health problems, 31 to 51%. Okay, personality factors such as low self-esteem and low perceived control over her life, 53%. Use of avoidance and denial coping strategy, 19% to 51%, 17%, 75%. Feelings of commitment to the pregnancy, 15 to 18%, 30%. oblivience or ambivalence, excuse me for the mispronunciation, ambivalence about the abortion decision. Okay, 38 to 54%, right? 30 to 44%, 65%, 22%, 11 to 29%, and 35%. All right, low perceived ability to cope with the abortion prior to its occurrence, 36 to 40%. And then you got a history of prior abortion, 48% to 52%. Abortion after the first trimester, 9%. Okay, so these are the table here. Again, I am using the statistics, all right? I am using the statistics, okay? And if you guys want to look more into this, oops, just go on National Library of Medicine, National Center for Biotechnology Information, Pub Medical Central, okay? Just go into their website, right? And you can find out more information. It is ncbi.nlm.nih.gov. All right, so this is the interesting part where it says even one of the hardest critics of the myth of abortion trauma, psychiatrist Nadia L. Stotlin, all right, subsequently reported her own clinical experiences treating a patient whose miscarriage triggered a mental health crisis arising from unresolved issue regarding a prior abortion. So there you go. You can see that for yourself, okay? All right, so oh my goodness. All right, so and this is another article about the history of contraception. All right, so I'm not going to go into the history of contraception. I'm going to say that for a later date, but that's the information right there. All right, so I have plenty of books that I recommend people to look into. All right, so the first book that I recommend you guys to check out is called The Pro-Life, Pro-Choice, Share Values, and the Abortion Debate. Bertha Alvarez Menanem. All right. So this book is called Pro-Life, Pro-Choice. All right. So it deals with the debate on abortion, etc. Okay. Arguments about abortion, personhood, morality, and law by Kate Greasley. Okay. And it says when abortion was a crime, women, medicine, and law in the United States from 1867 to 1973 by Leslie J. Reagan. Abortion and the Law in America, Roe versus Wade to the Present by Mary Ziegler. Okay, and this one's called Eve's Herbs. I'm trying to find out who's the author of this. Shit. Okay. Anyways, okay, so down to where it says it was copyright 1997 by John M. Riddle. John M. Riddle. Eve's Herbs, A History of Contraception and Abortion in the West. All right, it's called Eve's Herbs, A History of Contraception and Abortion in the West. This one is called Contraception and Abortion from the Ancient World to the Renaissance. And this is written by John M. Riddle. Okay. Contraception and Abortion from the Ancient World to the Renaissance. So basically, it gets into how abortion was performed in the ancient time period. Okay. All the way up to the medieval period. So it goes into the history behind abortion. Again, abortion is not something new. Abortion is something that has been very practical for a long time. It's been a practice and it's going to continue to stay a practice, all right? So whether we are pro-choice or pro-life, it's going to continue to be a practice. But I will also say this, as humans, we are here to procreate. We are here to procreate. That's the reality of it. All right. So just like you can't stop people from making their decision, what they're going to do as far as the termination of their pregnancy or whatnot, you can't stop people from having kids either. Because people going to still have kids regardless. There's going to still be multiple of human population. There's going to be a decrease in human population. That's to end. And on that note, and also, someone posted a question about life. Okay, well, life is the process. Life is not only a process, but also the process of growth and development. That's life. The process of growth and development. That's the best way I can give you the answer to what is life. That's the best way to give you an answer. And we also got to realize this. We are all our organism at the end of the day. We are all organism. And I'm going to keep saying this until you guys get it registered in your brain. Okay? I'm going to say this. Anything that lives can also die. Anything that is living can also die. All right? So, and that's the thing about organism. It's a living entity. It's a living being. If it can live, it can also die. And that's why I stand on my argument. That's why I stand on my conclusion. So I want to thank everybody that was tuning in today for watching my channel, listening to my channel. I'm sorry for my sound. I'm sorry for the constant movement over here. So I was trying to make sure that everything is good as far as my sound quality is concerned. So let me see if I can answer any more questions. Let me see. Let me see if I can answer any more questions on here. Let me read the comment section. So, born internal, Lord Allah, peace to you, brother. He put good to see a woman builds on the woman's body. Oh yes, we have to. You know what I'm saying? See, and you have people that may argue that you shouldn't even say anything about a woman's body. Well, guess what? You're talking to a woman. I am a natural born woman. I am a woman that's able to give birth to life. I am a woman that goes through a menstrual cycle. So therefore, I am entitled to speak my views and opinion. I am entitled to say something. Okay. But yes, it's time that you got women, because this is mostly like a women's argument. Okay, pro-choice versus pro-life. This is something that women will really get into with each other. And like I said, it can be very controversial. It could be very emotional. It could be very savage. I mean, you get deep in. I mean, like, you got to go deep. You know, when you talk about the subject, man, this is why many people try to avoid having this conversation about abortion. But it's always going to be brought up into the picture. It's going to always be brought up into the picture. So, and by it being brought up into the conversation, it's going to be very controversial. I mean, it's going to spark a serious debate. I mean, it may get to a point where it gets so intense that one party may be mad at the other party and they may have a disliking towards one another. I mean, that's how serious it can get, because this is not an easy debate to have. It's not one of those debates you can actually sit down and you can just have a general conversation about. No, it's going to be very intense. So, yes, it's a good thing that I did build on this, because I have spoke on it before, but I waited a while to actually speak on it. So now I'm just giving my input on it, and I hope that everybody can get something out of it. Peace to you, Centavo. Life is made to procreate and die and repeat, period. Well said. Well said. You said it. You hit the nail on the coffin. Abortion is murder. technically speaking, yes, it is murder. Technically speaking, to be honest, it's murder. Okay. Very simple. Sperm plus egg equals life. To get rid of that life is to kill living thing, any organism capable of three things: ability to reproduce, grow, and adapt. From third grade biology textbook. There you go. And whatever word you like to use, abort, terminate, etc., is murder. Well, people argue that masturbation is also murder. Well, I can't really. I mean, I can't really argue that because. But if you say so, I mean, I can't really argue a lot into masturbation about it being murder. I can't actually prove that. I can't actually prove that, to be honest with you, Centavo. So I can't say I agree or disagree because I can't actually prove that masturbation is a form of murder. I would have to see statistical research behind it. You know what I'm saying? But I have heard that before. I have heard that argument before. I've heard that argument before. All right, let's see if there's anything else that was not posted on here. Oh God, come on. Somebody put women of this world need to stop letting gay men ruin all the good things about being a woman. Red 5 Golf. That's gonna be a whole nother topic. There's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother topic. The women of this world needs to stop letting gay men ruin all the good things about being a woman. That's a whole nother topic, baby. Baby, that's a whole nother topic. Liberals are nothing but groomers. Let me see. I'm trying to find something else on here. I don't know, cause see, YouTube is something else. YouTube is something else. So I guess that's all the comments that was on my chat. All right, I had to look through my phone because YouTube won't post some of the comments on here on the computer for me to see. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna start doing. So for those of you that have posted comments in the chat, if I don't see it on the computer, then I'm just gonna have to look through my phone, as I'm doing my live, so that way I could be able to see the comments that was made, so that way I can address those question that you may have or respond to the comments that has been stated, because sometimes YouTube don't post all the comments on the computer, so I'm not able to see everybody comment. So I make sure that I will check through my phone each time when I'm on here live and stuff, so making sure I can be able to answer y'all questions. All right. But yes, with that being said, you guys have a good one. Again, thank you all for tuning in, watching. For those of you that done came in, watch this channel. If you guys that's just coming in, looking at this video, you guys will have to watch it from the very beginning. And you know what I'm saying? I'm not expecting you to watch it from the very end. So just look at each part, whatever part that you want to look into, whatever part you want to watch, you can do that. So that's what I expect for you guys to do. But I want to thank you all for watching, for real though. And thank you guys that have been subscribed to my channel, hitting the notification bell, sharing my channel, etc. Make sure, for those of you that's new, subscribe to the channel, share the channel, like the channel, etc. Make this a dialogue conversation. As you can see, a lot of stuff I post on here is dealing with a lot on history, especially Black history, etc., and also dealing with social issues, political issues, things like that. So it's a lot of stuff that I have posted on here so far. But thank everybody for real talk. With that being said, this your girl Tiffany, and I'm logging off saying peace and power and elevation be to all of you. And I hope you all have a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, and be safe. Okay, and I will connect with you all later. All right, so deuces. All right.